Tacos?
Okay, I'm just trying to get everybody in as I can, so just bear with me. None of you are smiling. Though. I'm not looking at anybody smiles. Not one person is smiling. This lady's smiling. Nicole is smiling. Thank you, Nicole. I think I saw Michelle smiling. Now Nicole looks very serious. Well, you
I'm
have,
trying to figure out how to connect my headphones.
I've given up on some of that. I have earphones, headphones. I got Tom-Toms. I got it all. And most of the time, I can't get something to work. As you saw me struggle last time we had a in-class meeting. I just want to give more people the chances to sign on. Some people were sick, some people were coming out of coaching, some people were in the car, but I also don't want to spend too much time on some of the early stuff. All right, another minute and we'll get going. I didn't think I was going to be on time myself because he's got a new puppy 2 weeks ago, a week ago, and he had the first puppy visit, and I wasn't sure how long that was going to take. It was very stressful. I haven't had a puppy in a long time. I am recording this in case somebody, I think, oh no, okay, great question. Whoever asked that question, I think it was Adam.
Think it was Brad, but I agree
Brad,
with Brad.
the dog is more stressed out than we are from having been to the vet. And then we find out all the things we thought we were doing right, we found out we're doing wrong. But when you get on YouTube's, which is a dangerous device, you see that there are, if you say, someone said the sky is blue, someone else will say the sky is green, and you have to figure out which one is really telling you the truth. And it gets very, very crazy. Oh, we're up over 20. Let's uh, let's kind of begin. Somehow I'm supposed to take attendance. I have no idea how I'm supposed to take attendance. I think there's some kind of Google Doc you're all supposed to sign off on, and I have no idea where it is or what it is. So we'll just kind of go along with the flow on that. I'm going to share my screen. Hope everybody's well. Otherwise, um, there's some kind of bug going around. I know that, and I'm sure most of you are very hungry. I know I am, but we'll be okay. You know, I hate to sound like I'm a Sister Mary Eugene teaching at St. Clair's or someplace much more structured than I am. I mean, never feel like if you have to, step away for any reason. I heard a baby talking before. Just step away. Don't worry about it. You can turn your camera off if you want, or your audio. It doesn't matter to me, but just step off. It's not the end of the world. I don't take myself that seriously. All right, I'm going to bring up. This is where I get nervous. I'm going to bring up a share that you can't see yet. And only because Adam catches my eye. Adam, just tell me if you see it. Okay, that's all I want to know. If
I can
Adam
see
can
it.
see it, if Adam can see it, I'm happy. So I'm presuming that the rest of you can too. And we'll go from there. And I'm going to try to keep my shares to the minimum as such. This is what you saw on the announcements. I guess Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, I put it up. Maybe, yeah, Sunday. Speaking of puppies, literally at 2 o'clock in the morning, because the dog had to be walked and the dog wouldn't go back to sleep. So Grandpa had to stay up with the dog to make sure that the dog didn't run away and do some things in the room that we didn't want her to do. So I wound up doing all sorts of things, and I also began working with discussion questions. I haven't got a lot of patience to read discussion questions. No knock on you people. You are doing, as a class and individually, you're doing great. I'm so pleased with the caliber of the responses I'm getting in the discussions, although I know I'm behind. I don't put grades up until I get around to it, which probably will be tomorrow. Uh, and so you're doing a great job with that. And the first assignment was excellent, really, really well done. And then I haven't looked at everybody's case study yet. 6 or 7, don't forget there's 26 of you. I looked at 6 or 7 in the last couple of days and given feedback to other people who have been very diligent in getting my responses to things. And they've been very good too. And we're going to spend a lot of time on that today. So right now I'm in housekeeping. Um, housekeeping is the kind of thing I just did with you. I'm just trying to catch up with you. I know that the syllabus is a little out of whack, and I have a couple of Jiminy Crickets. Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, young lady, right? Gina, I think was it, helping me today, saying, "Give me, you got to open up this week or that week." The weeks that just if you see something locked out, just text me or email me and say, "I can't get into XYZ," and I'll go back in and fix it. So I'm fixing it as I go along, um, and that's coming along nicely. Office hours are gone very well. I'm very pleased. Uh, I'm only getting 3 or 4 people at a time. That's okay because I am recording it. So, and I am encouraging people to record it, to watch the recording if you haven't watched it live, because things come up at office hours that occur to me that I may not have considered, or I didn't realize may be a problem or a question that not only the person who's live with me is asking about, but has application to what you people are doing as well. It also gives me the opportunity, I've said this to a couple of you already, and this is important to point out, that an hour and a half a month of live is simply not enough to get through for me to feel comfortable with satisfying myself that we're doing all the things that we're planning we need to do. And so, for example, in those first 2 office hours, I think forget if we've had 2 hours, 2 of them or three. I think three now. And I've been jumping in and teaching things. I've been teaching decision making theory. I've been teaching some futuring skills, and I'll be teaching more of those. And I've been going over the assignments that are due as well, which we are going to do tonight as well. So it, it's important for you to watch to participate in the office hours. If not live, then when you have a chance, because I do post the recordings the next day. Uh, and for those of you who get on live, and I think they already understand this, you don't have to stay for the whole hour. You might have a question, and I answer the question, and you can get off, or you can hang around and see what else we're trying to get done. So I absolutely encourage you to get on the office hours. I don't run office hours in days on weeks like today because we have the hour and a half session scheduled. But next week I'll resume it again, and I'll be doing that all the way through until the semester is finished. So that's something we have to do. All right. So I've talked about office hours. I've already mentioned that the last 2 assignments, that would be I forgot what the first one was about, but you also talked about leadership priorities for yourselves, and that was very well done, very eloquent, and everybody did great with that. The case studies that are coming in, we're going to spend some more time on now. I'm enjoying the case studies. I'm enjoying them very much because some of the issues and cases that some of you are bringing up are things that I wouldn't have thought to have brought up myself, um, but are important. Somebody brought one up I think yesterday or this morning about, I forget who you are, I apologize. Talked about when the electricity goes out in the building and what do you do? Do you keep the kids there or do you send them home? And that actually, I ran into that problem as a principal many years ago when the place went dark on over the weekend, and then we had to dig up a major cable from the poles out, and there was a case of touch and go as to whether we were going to have a school open that next day. And P.S. My superintendent practically dug the trench himself to have that happen. But those are things you have to do with. And someone actually typified an issue that they were talking about. I forget what it was exactly. This was something I read this morning, if I remember right. It was about situational leadership. And situational leadership is a form of leadership and is a legitimate theory. Okay. Because when people talk about theory X and theory Y and uh, delegated leadership and collaborative leadership and all the things that I drink the Kool-Aid about every day of my professional life, and seemingly most of you do too, if not all of you, situational leadership is a real decision theory. As I told you, decision theory itself is a bundle of theories pasted together. The one I demonstrated pretty extensively about 2 weeks ago was the one I want you all to be familiar with, but I gave you was a very simplistic left to right theory. It's not anywhere near as complicated as, for example, I never pronounce it right, Vroom, Vroom hyphen Yatan. That's a real theory. And several of you use that theory in your case studies, and I appreciated that for you. So the situational theory, I'm going to give you another title for that, and this is literally a title, I promise you. Some people call it, management by walking around, MBWA. Okay, that's sort of true. And other people call it management by muddling through. And what you do is you're in the hallway and someone stops you and says, Johnny's crying and I think he had a bad problem with his family this weekend. What do we do about it? Uh, People will generally do a muddling through approach. And by the way, it's not necessarily a bad approach. But by that, I mean to say is what you do is you dip back into 2 weeks ago when Mary had a problem like that. And what did you do when you work with Mary and her family problem? If it worked for Mary, it will hopefully work for Johnny as well. And so you dip into I don't want to demean the theory, but you kind of dip into your bag of tricks and you use that decision choice or that decision approach to move on through. I don't endorse it as a way to truly transform a school, not at all, because it's so reactive. But it is a theory that works out there. So we'll come back to that in a moment. So you have two more assignments due after today. You have a November data analysis, and then you have the mother of all assignments, which is due on the last day of the class on December 1st. I'm going to just talk about that for first before I go back to the November assignment. Again, I reiterate that getting on at office hours is really helpful for you because I'll look at material, give feedback to people, and help people see it through us. And I'll continue to model both of these last two assignments because they've escalated in difficulty. And when you bring them all together, what they do is give you a nice set of muscles for the examination that you'll have to take to have yourself certified as such. So the December 1st, I'm not going to read it all to you. You can go back into the assignments and you can look at the specifics of them, which are laid out pretty well in the syllabus. And that would be, but for the moment, what you're basically doing is you're going to take the school report card. I meant to get the website before I got online with you today, but I will send you the website if you don't know it. Basically, you should be living in, if you haven't had a professor tell you this yet, you should be living in nysed.gov, nysed.gov, New York State Education Department.gov. It's got host and spectrum of, of, uh, of links to just about anything that has anything to do with New York State education expectations, and then some. Okay. It's got policies. It's got case law. It's got information links galore. It's got what we call school report cards. Now, several of you, I'm sure, are very familiar with school report cards, and others are not. I'm going to do a great demonstration of that in November. A fall down die. You're not going to believe what I'm going to show you in November, but I'm not going to show you to you now. But if, for example, Adam, you caught my eye again. What do you teach, Adam? What do
I
you
teach
want?
AP Psychology, 10th through 12th grade.
Okay, so that's a tough one for me, but let me try that one.
Sure.
AP Psychology. So you go. That's a tough one because you
Sorry.
teach something. No, I don't want to apologize because you teach something so specific. But if you went to the New York State report card, you would get your AP results someplace in there, and it would be broken out by gender and by socioeconomic differences and any number of other premises as well. We get some ideas about that. Okay. If you were Alyssa, where do you work? I think you said Floyd, if I remember right.
Yeah, I'm a CSE chair now, but I was 11th grade special ed English. Stop it, Huxley.
All right.
Sorry.
So yeah, you live in that. Okay. So you live in it. You go to New York State report card, you're going to go into 11th grade Regents results, for example, and it's going to give you the general results of Floyd High School, which is a nice high school, by the way. And you're going to uh, come back and forth a lot with good things with that, but then you're going to begin to break it down. And when you begin to break it down, you'll see, and I know you know this, it will give you special education youngsters scores on those exams, presuming that they're eligible to take the exam. I know some special ed children don't have to take the exam, but most of them have to take some kind of standardized exam, even though they may not be taking the New York State English Regents in 11th grade. And you're going to get results. You're going to see differences. And just to be specific, I think I mentioned a month ago, when I was working for the state as a consultant, I would sometimes go in and do what they call school quality review. And this school quality review would uh, cite issues that they thought they saw perking up. And in that time, Floyd had been cited. I don't know if there still are. I doubt it. But at that point, they were cited. Actually, it was more middle school than high school, Alyssa. But they had been cited for disparate scores amongst. Yeah, it wasn't. It was an elementary school. Second grade African American boys, and then uh, I'm just still admitting people. That's why I paused for a minute. They've been cited for African American 7-year-olds. I can't believe they did that. Uh, and because their scores in the various exams were lower than their counterparts. And then what they did then, they broke it out again, and they began to show that there's any number of kids in those who are on free and reduced lunch or economically disadvantaged for any number of reasons. That goes K-12 in any school district. And they cited Floyd for that. And then nobody took the time to really do a root cause analysis, which is something I demonstrated, I know already to all of you. They did a root cause analysis and a 5 why analyses to recognize that uh, those African American second grade boys were also the children who were economically disadvantaged. Duh. I'm being a wise guy when I say that, but that should have been a part of the analyses that they're doing. I did some of this in one of the office hours. I think the first one we did. And I know that I remember Michelle flattering me by saying she was really more interested in the AI thing. And I'm going to come back to that next month. Your eyes are going to tear, Michelle. I promise you when you see what I'm going to do. I'll do it beforehand if you want me to, by the way. That's how proud I am what that we're going to do. But that's with the AI piece. So at any rate, what you're all going to do is you may think you already know KNOW, what the academic performance issues may be in your department, in your school, or in your district. That's fine. I don't care whichever way you choose to look at it. But wherever you work, although AP is a bad example, Adam, for me, but that's fine for you. Uh, Wherever you work, there's going to be. I hate to come from a negative point of view, but you can come from certainly from a positive point. But most of the time, the state will come from the half empty versus the half full point, and it will show you achievement levels along those four levels in the ELA examples, for example, to show where kids line up. It's misleading, he shouted, for emphasis. It's misleading to some extent, but it's the best we have right now. I don't know if anyone, I think maybe one person in this class also works in the city. I don't remember who you are, but I'm pretty sure there is one of you. And if that's the case, you have an additional advantage. You can go to your principal and say, "How do I get access to the school profile results?" I may be giving you the wrong term, but what they do in New York City schools is they give a big, huge questionnaire to parents, to students, and to teachers. And what they do is they kind of rate themselves against all kinds of criteria and school culture, school discipline, just some that are not academic specifically. And that's how principals get rated there, by what the scores say. It's not a fair instrument in many respects, but it's what they use. It's their yardstick, in addition to, he shouted, the New York State report card. So, but if you do happen to work in the city, it gives you some inkling of how things should be. And I will be demonstrating that in depth in November, probably before that in office hours, but in depth for everybody in December, or rather November. I take that back. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at the school report card about something you suspect is an issue or something that you know is an issue and verify it now with the data that's out in front of you, starting with the New York State report card for the most part. But you can certainly go lots of other places with that as well. The world is your oyster. You tell me what you think you might want to use, and I will say yes, more likely than not. All right? Uh, and you can, he shouted, don't fall off your chairs. And I demonstrated this 2 weeks ago in the office hours. You can drop the school report, drop as in load in the school report card data of your school into an artificial intelligence engine and ask it to analyze it. And it will give it to you before I finish the sentence. Now, is it accurate? Not necessarily. Is it spot on? Often it's not, because it needs more data to offer you suggestions. But does it? Now, here's the point, and this is something I'm beginning to see in a book I'm trying to write. It accelerates hear my words, it accelerates the analysis. So instead of having a group of people, sit and hold hands for hours trying to figure out what all the data are saying, what you're getting is an analysis as a baseline to say, I don't think that's true. Or I think that may be true. Let's see, what else do we need to know? And you begin to squeeze it and slice it and squeeze it and slice it and dice it some more to get at the true, here's the word again, the root causes. And I'll do this with you individually if you want me to. I'm very good at doing it, although it's very time consuming with 26 people. I will sit down with you online and I'll help you use root causes to get to the root causes. But what you need to do is get to the root causes of the issues you see. By the way, there could be positive root causes too. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. But what you're going to do is in that 12-1, the December 1st, 25 point, I hate to pose it in that count, 25-point assignment. An assignment, by the way, that you will see duplicated on the state exam. So you're getting muscles worked out that you'll need anyway to succeed on the state exam. I promise you that. Okay? And so are we teaching to the test? He growls. Yeah, a little bit. We're giving you not the questions, but we're giving you, as if you were taking a Regents exam, we're giving you samples of things that you can expect. And so it's a big help to you on that count. So what you're going to do is you're going to create charts. I would emphasize you're going to do trend analysis. And I'll talk more about trend analysis maybe today, but certainly in next week's office hours, if somebody reminds me who gets on with me. Trend analysis. I'll give you a quick example of that in a minute. And you're going to do trend analysis of students and staff. Who are your kids? Who are they? Tell me about those kids based on the data that you have. Who are they? I'm letting that sink in because sometimes we tend to overlook that. We got to know who are these babies, okay? As well as the staff. Does the staff stay? Does your principal wash people out very quickly? Or if you get a job for life, the first day you get a job and nobody really worries about whether you're being supervised properly? There's all kinds of ways to look at this. By the way, here's one too. Don't, and I'm not playing a union card at you because I used to be a union guy at one point before I went to the other side. And that would be, how about APPR? Remember that? How many teachers are being really given school improvement, personal improvement plans to improve their instruction? You may not get the names of the people, but you might get a number and say, well, 5% of the kids in Floyd are, of the teachers, I should say, in Floyd are under school review improvement plans. Well, that's telling. It's also good that they're doing that as such. And you go from there. So you're going to give me a profile of profiles, and you're going to give me theoretical frames. Here I come again, okay? And in theoretical frames is, as I said in one of the office hours, just about any theory you see is legitimate. I can't think of one that wouldn't be for the most part. The ones that almost always ring the bell, I think, in alignment with your analyses approaches. You ready? Is culture, is decision making, and they are broad. I'm giving you very broad points. You've got to get your fingernails dirty and do some more research about that with the text. I think the text is okay with that, but it doesn't do a great job with it. You can maybe go back into your 501 courses, textbooks, and use them. The Owens book, I think, that you use is a pretty good book, actually. It doesn't go deep enough in every theory, but it does kind of point all of them out. Because I want to know what you see as the overriding solutions to improving the performance of the school, even if you're the principal of Jericho High School, which is the #1 high school in the country. There's something they have to fix there too. And George Steinbrenner, most of you remember, I think, I'm not sure about that anymore. Used to be the owner of the Yankees, been dead about 15 years. Uh, Truly believed in this, and much as I didn't like the man as a person, uh, he believed in it. When Pat Riley also said, he was the general manager of the Miami Heat, who said, when you stop trying to get better, you stop being good. And when a teacher says to me, well, why are we working on, the social studies scores? We do pretty well. I got a pretty good pass rate there. I get really twisted when I hear that. I don't take off my shoe and throw it at them literally, but metaphorically I do. And I run that solution back, that phrase back at them. So you're satisfied. You're okay with that. Now, as a leader, you really can't be okay with that because that means there are kids who aren't getting okay. And we have to make sure that we take care of that up the road. All right. So I'm giving you just a broad overview today. You should be working on that when we hang up the phone today. I'm exaggerating, but I'm not kidding. Don't wait until November 30th to try to do that. You will lose your mind because it's a complex Rubik's Cube of work. Just getting the graphs to look good and all those other good things. How, how are you going to present it and how we're going to share it among each other? I haven't even given any thought to it yet. What you need to do is identify your school's academic or disciplinary or attendance. You can look at it from any number of places and pick an issue that you want to explore as thoroughly as you can. And between now, October 14th and December 1st, it's about 6 weeks. You're going to have a nice set of muscles to lead other people to do it with you. That's not a one-man job, one-person job. That's a job that you're going to do collaboratively with your think tanks and your shared decision-making teams and your departments and your PTAs, whatever people want to engage with you to make that, to take care of those issues. That's the December 1st issue. The November 14th, I think that's the date for that, is a research article, analysis. Okay. You're going to find now in the syllabus, we list quite a few articles, like maybe 20, that are very good articles, and they're grounded in topics that we will have dealt with either through the discussion questions or through our monthly meetings or office hours. One way or another, those articles are going to be identified. Adam this morning, hope I have the right name. Adam was kind enough to share an article, and Adam, we got to figure out how to get that up to everybody else. Maybe you can put it up in chat for that matter, so they can see it. And
I thought you were referencing the project. I did not send you an article this morning. Might have been someone else.
no, maybe it wasn't you. Somebody, I don't remember who it was, but Adam, I'm just picking on you because like you're in the bottom of my screen here, so I keep seeing you. At any rate, so go to the journals. Now, you can go to other places for journals. You can go to the Stony Brook Library online and you can find more articles than you want. You can go to ERIC, ERIC. If you don't know what ERIC is by now, I'm not taking the time to explain it. It's the Educational Research, I forget what the I stands for, Clearinghouse. It's got most every article that's ever written about anything in there as such, and they do a nice job with it. I like, I prefer EBSCO myself. I don't ask me what it's educational something. EBSCO. I like the way they do things in identifying good educational research articles. That's just another one. I also recommend you just going to, and this is kind of, well, this is not cheating. It's just a shortcut. If you're of the mind to literally physically go to your, I'm not sure if you can do it online, but you can physically go to your local public library and say, I want an article about attendance, school attendance. They'll get it for you. If they can't get it for you from their archives, they'll print it and send it to you, but you have to wait for it. It's not like they'll do, and it's free as such. On the other hand, you can also go, and I recommend this, although there's a yes but to this. You can also go to googlescholar.com, not just the googlescholar.com. And it's an educational research article index. It's not just for education, it's for any kind of research. You plug in your topic, and what I always do is, and I recommend this strongly, I always give it a limitation of saying, give me all peer, P-E-E-R, reviewed articles about whatever the topic is in online form within the last 5 years or the last 3 years. If you want some of these things to go back to 1930, you lose your mind. But if you go back to about 5 years, you're going to get some relatively recent and current articles. Now, here's the yes but. Most times you can upload it or download it, I'm not sure what the right verb is, from Google Scholar. Sometimes you can't. That means sometimes you have to request access to it from the publisher. And they'll usually give it to you, but sometimes they want you to join them and pay for subscription fees, and I wouldn't recommend that. Or if you see an article on Google Scholar that you think you like, then what you can do is you can I lost my train of thought. You can download it from them, all right? And you'll have the article. All right. Now, all of you are going to take a research course. I'm not sure if you've taken it yet, but you're going to get a research course, and you're going to have to do those kinds of things anyway. What this assignment is doing is asking you to start that muscle to recognize what research is about. If you're of the mind to say research is a pain in the neck, which it is, and useless, which it's not, he shouted, email me and we'll have a mud wrestle about it because everything we talk about has to do with research in one form or another. Part of the problem with educational research is a lot of it is junk. That I will share with you, and it doesn't work out the way we want. And I won't get into that today. Now, this sounds like I'm recommending Richard, and I'm not. I'm just trying to make it easy for you. I'm the editor-in-chief of a journal. Okay, it's called it's out of Scope Online. I'm going to show you the link in a second. And you can go to that link and you're going to find I run a board of editorial board that takes submissions from all around the country and the world, and we review them. Generally we will post 5 to 7 articles and sometimes some book reviews and some other things into one of two issues, the spring issue or the fall issue. The fall issue is we just had a meeting about last week, and that's coming out in November. It's kind of too late for you, I think, or end of November. It's too late. But the spring issue is out, and there's some pretty good articles in there, okay, about special ed needs and about school report card issues. By the way, Dr. Foreman and Dr. Markson, if you know them from Stony Brook, always write articles for us and do a damn good job with it. So you may want to pull one of their articles up. But what we have is we have it on, you can get it two ways. You can get it through your principal. Most principals will have this journal physically in their hand in hard copy, and you can get it online. So it doesn't have an index. I'm working on that. But what you can do is go back into ERIC and see if, because they are listed in ERIC as well, and you can probably download it that way. So the journal, it's a little tricky to find. Watch me. Hopefully you're going to see this. If you don't see it, Adam, say, I can't see it. Do you see that?
No.
No, I was afraid of that. Okay. Let me go back out. Stop the share. Let's try share again. Okay, there it is. That's Scope, Education Services. All right. It's Suffolk County Organization of Professional Educators. And you'll see I'm looking at publications. Again, it's a little tricky to find it, and we're trying to redo the website to do this. And you're going to see directories. Now, these things I'm not recommending. Okay. You don't need to do that. Then we get the periodicals. These aren't good enough. These are just simple little paragraph articles. And then you get down to the mother lode right here, the Journal for Leadership and Instruction. And then it tells you how to submit your own article. I would hope that actually one of the students here, I'm not going to mention the person's name, but I actually have recommended to that person that that person should write an article to submit to this journal on that basis. So that person, if you're listening, you should take a look at these article submission guidelines, but you and I will talk some more. And then you'll see that there's a whole list that goes all the way down. At one time it was called the Education Review, but we changed the name of it back in the way. So if we went to the spring 2025 issue, if you went to the spring 2025 issue, if you went to the spring 2025, maybe it's down here. Here it is. I'm going to stop. I don't think you can see that, right, Adam? You can't see it, right? Can't see it, right? Can't see the issue, can you?
No, I see the website where all the issues are listed.
Okay,
Let's open a new window.
I'm going to do this. This is last spring's issue.
Nice.
Okay, and I'm not going to open it up because it'll take too long, but you can see the entire issue is online. And you'll just see the table of contents. Dr. Foreman and Dr. Markson wrote the first article, The Opt-Out Movement Revisited. There's one here about Chinese American students, which is really good. I didn't know that the issues associated with Chinese American students is pretty solid. It's pretty extensive. This one I think is excellent. This was written by a man from the Netherlands, and he wrote about the development of leadership in children who experienced domestic violence. A framework for a balanced leadership, which has to do with collaborative leadership more than anything else. Who is that? Alyssa. Alyssa's special ed. Look at Alyssa. We have one here. The power of teacher beliefs in effective learning of students with disabilities in inclusion classrooms. That's a very good article. This article kind of brings up the rear. For those of you interested in gender issues, this is about the underrepresentation of female superintendents. I think there's probably 80% of the students in this class are females who are thinking about becoming a superintendent. Uh, it's changing, it's improving, but the percentage of female superintendents on Long Island and around the country is still disproportionate to their numbers. And this is what that study speaks about. And then someone did I'm not sure how many of you know Dr. Famularo. He's a superintendent in Belmore, America, I think, if you live working in Nassau. And he writes a lot of books, and he wrote a book about something called the IOU School. And it's a book review, it's not an article. So I'm going to X this out, go back to the assignment. Stop. All right, Adam, you can see the agenda. No, that's not what I want you to do. That's the
I
wrong
see
one.
the leadership program
Yeah, that's the wrong one.
annotated faculty meeting.
Wrong one, wrong one, wrong one. There it is. Okay. So you can see what you're going to do with that one is, um, and again, I'm not putting a gun between your eyes to get the scope online one. I'm just saying it's convenient for you to get at it, and the articles are pretty good. And then what you could do is just kind of go through that list of the publications for I think it's about 11 or 12 years there. You can find any number of articles that would be of great worth to you. And for the most part, since almost all of you are Long Island educators, you'll see that the Long Island issues highlighted more than you might see in a national journal. Although it is a national journal, it's an international one actually. So what you're going to do is you're going to, identify the theme. And for the most part, at least I call the JLI articles, I insist that they they have an abstract, and the abstract has their theme or their theory, and that they have what we call conceptual rationale. I'll talk about conceptual rationale uh, on the next Tuesday meeting, if someone has to just remind me to do that. Now, this is important too, the connection to your context. So, in other words, you picked an article, if Alyssa picked an article about special ed and inclusion, which I think is a major issue. I think I'm not familiar with too many inclusion programs that do a good job. No offense, if you teach inclusion, Alyssa, because or any of the other, a lot of it is kind of lip service to what inclusion is meant to be. And I feel strongly about that. I've done some work on that in a number of different places. And so, if you were looking at that inclusion article that I pointed out in the spring issue of JLI, how does it connect to you? Why did Alyssa pick that article? Okay. I would recommend, I'm not requiring that you use like a Venn diagram there, something to show there's an overlap between the theory and why you chose it, what the context was. Okay. It might even probably help you as you prepare to do the December 1st article for that matter. Explain your role in the issue. Now, there's two ways to approach that. One would be if you have that stripe, if you are that teacher, or if you're some kind of supervisor, even if it's unofficial, to deal with the premise that you're examining, say that. Tell me a little bit about it, and then if you don't, if you're just a good old-fashioned teacher of second grade babies in downtown, you know, Dix Hills, um, then just say that, but then make something up and just say this is imagined. I'm the principal of a school, a K-12 building, and this is how I see things, and you go from there. Now, you also shouldn't go at, and I'll talk more about this next Tuesday. Should also give you what stakeholders may be involved. This is important. Is the union rep involved? Is a good example. Are mommies and daddies involved? Are outside communities forces involved? I was a principal. Actually, I was a assistant superintendent. And I remember we had swastikas showing up in one of the junior highs. And they're all over the boys' bathrooms, and it was ugly. So principal calls me up, and he says, so I went in. I said, well, who's doing it? We said, we don't know who's doing it. I said, but they're doing it. So somebody, it wasn't me, somebody brought in the hate crime division from Suffolk County Police Department. And the principal, who was a great principal, but he said something kind of not so smart. And he said, it's just an isolated incident. And the Suffolk County Police Department went up his tree and down the other side of it. He said, hey, you got to nip these things in the bud before they take a life of their own. Don't ever say that again. So in this case, if you had an issue about articles about hate incidents in your research, then you would list the Suffolk County Police Department. Social workers certainly would be a part of any number of these things. So identify the roles, and I'll show you how to look at them more closely when we get to futures-based projections. Now, all of you, to a man and a woman, or a woman and a man, or to a person, whatever suits you, did a really nice job in the case studies. Terrific job when you projected out. I didn't respond to too many of them yet. I will starting tomorrow. I said, good job with futures-based projections. When I demonstrated the futures wheel a couple of weeks ago, that's a futures-based projection graphic organizer, basic forecasting device. I'm going to show a cross impact matrix, that's CIM, next week. I'm not going to show it tonight. That will enable you to see how about the interaction among your stakeholders. This is priceless and critical for how you want to deal with your community and your internal stakeholders as well. It's critical. And so you'll need to put this into your toolkit to show that how smart you are as such. So that's the November 14th assignment. Should you start it tonight? No. But should you start it fairly soon? Yes. But believe it or not, I would recommend you start 12/1 before you start 11/14. Just get the acorn in the ground. Wet your whistle, get your thumb in the pie, get your fingernails dirty, whatever it is that you want to, and then walk your idea past me. Dr. Lee, I'm thinking about this, that, and the other thing, and we'll do that. Okay, wow, it's already 5:48. I can't believe it. I'm starving, but we're not going to stop to eat. We have to keep going. He smiled. And the next piece is, I'll give you, does anyone have any questions for the group? If you have a specific question to yourself, stay online afterwards. I'll answer it there. But any question, some clarification that you need as far as the things we've talked about to date? I'm watching Jen eat and I'm starving. Go for it, Jen. Okay. That means I'm really good at explaining things, or did I explained it good enough? All right, so we'll take it from there. We'll go on to the next place. So the last thing we're going to do is do a case study breakout, which means all those great, I'm actually going to X this out, stop the share. All those great case studies that you have submitted, and the deadline, I guess, is midnight tonight, unless you have asked for some kind of indulgence if you're sick or they're having a family emergency, so that you will have uploaded the material to me to go through. And so what we're going to do now is I'm going to put you in breakout rooms of about 4 per person. And what you're going to do is the following thing. Each of you should scribble a list down. I should have put that on the handout I showed you a minute ago. What you're going to do is you're going to, I hate the word share. The word share to me means, oh, that's nice. I'll share my toy with you. No, we're talking about, we're going to exchange, okay, your case studies among the however many of you in the group. You're not going to have a lot of time, but you're going to have some time to say, okay, well, my case study was about X, Y, Z. You don't have to show them the PowerPoint or anything like that. Just talk it through. It was about X, Y, Z, and here's the issues and so on. And you're going to do a round robin with that. And then you're going to the second thing you're going to do is identify theoretical frames. Compare your frames to each other. Have a conversation about that. When I come into the breakout rooms, I'll probably be asking that question. And the third thing is to see, and this is a little more tricky, and this is not a test. So if you aren't able to bring it off altogether, that's just fine too. The third thing you're going to do is try to find, this is an Italian phrase, okay? Alyssa, like, I don't know, you speak Italian, Alyssa? She has to say no. No. All right. It's called the dietrologia, which means the message behind the music. Okay? It's an Italian art form in Italy. And really what it is, it's kind of snarky, I think. So if I said to Jen Wagner, because I see her eating now, I'm teasing you, Jen. Just teasing you. She's blushing. Don't blush. All right? If I say to Jen Wagner, hey Jen, I see that you washed your hair today. What do you take from that? Open up your audio. Adam figured it out because he teaches psychology.
That maybe other days I look like I don't wash my hair.
Hello. That's exactly it. Oh, that's just a science fiction thing. It's not true. But it really was sort of a poor man's, poor woman, poor person's a 5 why approach without doing the 5 why. In other words, what are you really talking about? If Jen was sharing her theory, okay, and then Adam were, I have more than one Jen here. Jen Gordon was okay, because they're the ones I see on my screen. Uh, do you see any commonalities? What are the commonalities among your conversations? What are the disparate? What are the differences? And more important, this is what you call intellectual uh, aspiration. What is it that you think you don't know that you need to know more about in terms of these theoretical approaches? So let's go back to the top. You're going to exchange your case study. And then you're gonna, after everybody does that, you're going to, and don't beat it to death. Just give it a 25 words or less. Then you're going to exchange or identify each other's. That'd be interesting. Say, can anybody guess what my theory is? And let them try that if you want to, and see what decision theories kicked out. By the way, there's quite a bit of commonality among you, although but not totally. And then the third thing you'll do is try to figure out, what you find in common, what you find not in common, and then what you think you'd like to know more about. That's the one I care the most about. It is almost 6 o'clock. We're going to break at 6:30. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put you in the rooms now, and then I'm going to leave you alone for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to start coming into the rooms and give you about another 10 minutes, maybe a little more than that, to come back out of that. And then we're going to wrap up the class by trying to have one person from each group identify what it is you think you want to know. That's a lot in a half hour, but we'll do the best we can with that. So here we go into breakout rooms. There's more people in this class than I've ever had before. So there's 6 groups. So jump into your room. I'll see you later. Serious time, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Counting down.
I'm so hungry. Did you eat?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
So then it's like, so hi,
Hi, carry on.
welcome.
Carry on. You enjoying yourselves?
We are.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody nodded too. That makes me feel good. I'm like Donald Trump. I have to be told that I'm wonderful all the time. I'm not like Donald Trump. All right. So where have you gotten so far? I don't want to interrupt too much of your conversation.
So
Um,
I was actually going to present my case study on the impact of limited common planning time on teacher collaboration and instructional effectiveness. And the theory that I had chosen was Peter Senge's five disciplines to
Bingo.
support the case study.
I want that painting behind you, by the way. What is that?
What's that?
I want that painting behind you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, just basically, and this was actually a case study that I had come up with due to the issue that I experience in my district right now. And it's just pure chaos and constant struggle every single day. We have zero common planning time, and it's just the responsibilities kept getting, more and more and more, and it's a lot. It's very challenging to try and keep up with all the expectations without having that common planning time. So, through the theory, I kind of realized how it really pulls everything together, having the personal mastery, the mental models, the shared vision, which I know you don't like to call it a shared vision. But but also having the team learning and also the systems thinking really pulled my whole case study together.
They literally do that in an automobile assembly line. Think about it. When they're putting the lug nuts you get the tires on the cars, it goes down to the assembly line. That's team learning because they're working together to make sure that they do it better than they had used to do it. I could spend 30 hours on your issue. I'd love to talk to you some more about that. I'm going to the next place without making you all crazy. So I'm leaving the room. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Matthew.
Hello.
Oh, this is the gifted and talented group. You have Adam in there. Holy cow. It's like
The
Thank you.
headphones. It's the headphones.
It's just the look.
You,
Good one.
you can do a case
one.
study and you can
That was
land an
very
airplane.
What am I missing? Anything interesting? Don't say no.
Yes.
Yes.
I think our commonalities were change theory and transformational leadership.
Do they go together?
Some ways.
Yeah, some ways.
Oh, I'm pressing you on that now. How do they go together? Not
I
you,
mean, I think
Ashley, specifically, the group. Carrie's squirming. I think she's got an opinion about this.
No, I'm squirming because I don't have one.
I think if you're a transformational leader, you're open to change. So they could,
Yeah, that's a Tia.
Yeah.
That's
You're willing to like share a vision with like maybe like the staff, or like you're open to like criticism to that shared vision.
how do you, it's a rhetorical question.
Sure.
First of all, the word transformation, I think I mentioned a couple of times, it's used so many times, it's lost its deeper meaning. But
Mm.
transformation is, I think I've said, I identify it or define it as new ways to realize. And, think about how people suddenly come up with a new way to realize something rather than what they think they have always realized. One of the reasons why we have these political divisions now is not nobody, but how so many people are hardened up with their view of reality, which is, and it doesn't change. So how do you transform that kind of mindset, to come back to that word? So transformational only operates best when the conditions are set up to enable people to nurture themselves and be nurtured by other folks. And that's not easy to do in a school setting where most of the time people are put into these little silos and to go from
hmm
there. So yeah, no, I only pressed you because I really wanted to get that tier, and I wanted to see how what else we can get out of that conversation. But I'm talking too much, and I'm going to leave. Try to see out what you need to know too as a group, if you can, before I pull you back. Good job,
Thank you.
Adam. Control the group, okay?
I'm trying. Rowdy.
taking us. Hello.
Hello. Oh, you're smiling. It means you're enjoying yourself. That makes me nervous.
Well, no, we all came into agreement
We're
that
talking about data.
yeah,
Really?
and the
As a
leadership style. It seems like we all touched on a transformational leadership style.
So how does data overlap with transformational leadership, or how can it?
Oh,
Can you say that again? How does that a what?
How do they overlap, intersect with, control, operate on each other?
was I think
Creating
that
a culture. Well, the transformational leader would have to create a culture where data is important and where they would work collaboratively, the teachers, and also get professional development to be able to look at the data, understand the data, share the data,
Act on the data?
and act on the data. Data.
Data?
I was thinking about
What-
like the the discussion thing from last week, and I feel like we might need to like start talking to teachers about collecting their own data, not necessarily using like iReady and scripted curriculums. Like, what about just talking? Like, I feel when I first started teaching, teachers were taking data on students. I had a notebook that had a box for each kid, and what were they doing in their reading? What were the next steps? What were they doing? What were the next steps? And it was just like an ongoing data collection that was like significantly more useful than they got a 1. They got this question wrong. Like I know they got that question wrong. They can't read at that level, right? They're not going to be able to do main idea and details at that level if they're reading 3 levels below grade level.
I'll use a fancy term. That was the lingua franca. That was how people spoke to each other. That was the conversation. That was the inquiry. They use a word that people sometimes can't define very well. True. Well, I know I'm dying to tell you what I think on this, but I'm going to try to pitch it back to you before I tell you what I think. Why is there iReady? Why is there all those other systems that they've put in place that record the data and transform and then give the data back to the staff? Why do you think it's there?
Because
I'm
it's
guessing
fast
teachers
and we're
weren't
now
taking data.
technology.
What about the technology, though? You said
Well,
it.
they want to make sure that the children are on the computer and know how to navigate the computer. I think it's sometimes I think it's very difficult to be able to read 3 different stories on the computer, but they're teaching the kids how to manipulate the computer. Now I think it's technology.
I think it also has to do with then being able to what Heather was saying, like back, we used to like just take our own data. And I think that now this is a way for administrators to be like, well, if you're not aware, we are aware, and let's share this with you as to where the children are struggling right now. And I think it makes it easier is not the word that I'm really looking for, but in general, for the whole district to kind of like share that out and say, okay, we are as a district struggling in this concept. We need to make sure that we're addressing this in all of our schools.
Yeah. Is it possible, and by the way I'm saying that, you can tell that's where I'm coming from a little bit, but you don't have to agree with me at all. Is it possible that those technological systems are in place to assure leadership that everybody's doing something with data?
I think
Like,
it's partly used for them to be able to also see the data because like when I was recording like in my own classroom, like that wasn't shared, that was mine. So nobody else was getting that information. So like direct principals and directors didn't know how kids were doing until the state test. You know what I mean? There was no like ongoing feedback. So I feel like things like iReady or NWEA, whatever they use, are used so that there is more frequent feedback for directors and principals, whereas they're not necessarily happy with it only being with teachers. And you may have had teachers that weren't actually collecting data,
Oh, there you go.
So this is
Yeah, I think I mentioned this. I know I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in office hours. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the class last month. Uh, Often, very often, the school systems in Finland are held up as the go-to school system in the whole world. Their international scores and math scores and all that are very good. Everything's supposed to be really very good. And I can do a 30-hour course on this, but the short story is that one thing that they do a lot of things. One thing that they do is they train their teachers in preparation programs to be absolutely conversant in data. And they train their teachers, their pre-teachers, I guess we should say, in the ability to exchange and collaborate with each other to discern the root causes behind the data issues, the deficits and the pluses and the pluses and the minuses, to come up with co-game plans to take care of it. It's the conversation. And when they have prep time, that's what they do. They sit around and they talk about, Johnny and Mary and so forth, and they problem solve among each other. I don't know if that's the culture in American school systems.
I think it's the
Seriously.
culture
Yeah.
that I feel like in my building, I can't speak to other buildings, but I feel like in my building, they like my principal, it's his second year as principal. He's fantastic, but I feel like he's trying to force data team meetings, right? But I don't feel like there's room within the curriculums to actually address that, right? Okay, Johnny can't do A, B, or C. He can do D, E, and F, but he can't do A, B, and C. So, like, except here's the program you have to use to teach Johnny. And you have to stay on day one, lesson one, day two, lesson two, whatever it is, right? So, like, what do you do to help Johnny is kind of, I guess, where the problem I feel like comes in, right?
Yeah.
Is
So
Go ahead.
I mean, Heather, I understand your point for individual teachers.
I'm
I
going to
feel
go because I'm loving what you're saying, but I got 3 other groups to get to. But that's really great, good material. Please make it work. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
okay. So yeah, I understand point of
I remember kids in my school getting held back.
Not anymore.
I mean, I'm old enough where I had classmates in third, fourth, fifth grade. They didn't go on to the next grade. And that's just how it was, because you didn't show that you could do it, and there wasn't this push to push the kids along. And so you actually had the intrinsic value of education for the kids' benefit. And it wasn't to pad a stat. It wasn't for the superintendent or the principal to look good within the community. The kids actually benefited from that. And I mean, I'd like to think now the kids who now are turning 50 this year, who graduated high school in 1995 instead of 1994, that they're okay as a result of that.
Right.
I mean, that's, I think the unifying thing that we're all looking at here is communication to that why question. Why do we do this? What's the purpose of anything? The articles for this week on data overload and the red herrings that are built into that. Like, you can teach somebody a certain vocabulary word, but it's not going to prepare them for a future on the test. So why are we doing this? It's just one word, and there's thousands of better words to use that they're going to use more frequently. So for my friends who I left behind, or I think they just wanted to brush up on some skills. I think that's what it was. But whatever the case is, they had a better go of it because they had that chance and they weren't forced along, arguably by the parents who were pushing the issue.
Or the system wasn't built to enable us to come back and make sure that child didn't have to be, left back.
Right.
in other countries, being left back is not, it's not seen the same way as we see it in America. Sometimes it's encouraged. It's like you just need another refresher. Two of my siblings were left back. They're much older than me. I'm from a very big family. They went to elementary school in the 80s. And whenever my parents talk about it, it's not talked about as some negative thing. It's just, they just needed to try it one more time to get better at it. And they're doing fairly well. One of them has her doctorate. The other one is a nurse. So like, I think they made out.
I think they're doing
Yeah.
That's a fairly.
Yeah.
No, but that's great conversation. I wish I could stay a little longer. I got two groups to get to. Forgive me.
Hello.
Hi.
This is the Gifted and Talented group. I forgot that. All right. How's it going so far?
Good. We talked a lot about our stuff, a lot of phys ed stuff.
Yeah, we have two phys ed teachers in this group, so we have the both
Three.
rhythm.
Hello. I
Yeah,
am
three. We have dance too.
How did I do that?
That's awesome that it happened.
Oh, who's the fourth person who's not?
I'm not. I teach science.
So
Kind of
Jen,
fits.
you're left in the
It's all good.
Anything interesting? Things you're wondering about, or any theories that you want to have? I have 30 seconds to talk to you, but anything you want to pursue?
No, I feel like we were all in agreement. A lot of our cases had to do with like just like decision making theory, some culture.
What else do you need to know about those premises? I'll leave you on that account. Talk among yourself.
All the theories that we're using are engagement,
Yeah.
right? But in such different ways,
Yes.
depending on
Yes.
like the needs of our district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like mine was attendance, yours was and I forgot the name again.
Alicia.
Yes, with the behavior issues.
Yes.
Like trying to get them to be in school and function in a classroom. Right? That was these are the major issues. It's insane.
And I don't know what the last thing is we're supposed to discuss.
What is it that
I know we did.
There we go. Theory. So we went over our theories and how it's interesting. Our theory essentially was all engagement, but we all had such different problems because of the needs in our district. But outside of that, like you asked the question, like, what do we want to learn? That's where we're confused.
What is it that you still need to know more about?
The answer to deal with the case.
Not just the case studies, but so much as the matters of insofar as the matters of leadership. Something ringing a bell that you hadn't thought about before you entered this class.
Oh,
stop, Huxley. Well, I guess if you think about leadership, essentially kind of what I just said, you need a different leadership style based on the needs of the district. Like Veronica's needs were very different than, like Michelle and I had very similar needs, depending on, is it a high needs district? Do you have parent involvement? Like Veronica was talking about how she has too much parent involvement, and the rest of us are sitting here saying we have no parent involvement and it's hurting us. So you're going to need a different leadership style to handle those different aspects.
I'm not sure if style is the exact word so much as skill set.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. A couple of I'm just splitting words with you probably to some extent, but and yet both of those are are part of the PSEL standards, and I'm not holding them up as the answer to everybody's prayers by any means. And how you, I guess I'm telling you what I'm thinking rather than I'm trying to get you to think about what I'm thinking. That's two different things. True, wherever Veronica teaches versus where Michelle and Elisa teach, um, two different kinds of two different opposite point circumstances, but the same issue of engagement. By the way, engagement is a tricky word. What we mean by engagement is probably where we need to talk more about. One of you brought this up in her case study. I don't know if it was one of you folks. And we talked about Epstein, who has an engagement model people have been using for a million years, where where it identifies the facets of what good engagement might be. I think I got to talk more about that in office hours. I have to look it up and remember what it is myself. But the matters of engagement, I'll jump to another research thing for you. There's a guy named Anthony Bryk, B-R-Y-K. He studied Chicago schools, decision-making approaches in the inner city issues several years ago. And we found with many of the inner city schools were very successful because they worked very hard on having their parents and community extensively involved in everything and informed and influential about what was happening in the school. And they all chalked it up to the fact that the school community was actually invested in helping that happen altogether. And that's a culture issue with a small c, in the sense that somehow or another, those schools and those communities recognize the power of what it could do for kids. And I'll leave you with that. I like the way I said that. I'm glad I'm recording that. I'm going to save that for something else. All right, I'm going to close off everybody for you. I'm going to give you another minute to collect yourselves, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do when we come back out. Good job.
You asked and you told me no. It's all right. You have two mommies. We literally just had this conversation.
Alyssa, you're not muted.
I know. My son's getting in a lot of trouble right now.
I feel like I'm eavesdropping, but I don't mean to.
Yeah. I was like, is that a private conversation?
All right, I broadcast a message to everybody. Just going to do a round robin. I'm going to pick one person from each group and say, okay, tell me what you thought you pulled out of these case studies as an exercise. I have opinions, but I'll save them for a rainy day. All right, positive opinions. Okay, I think we're all back. All right, I don't know who's in what group. I'm just going to sort of grab names and we'll go that way. Michelle, I know you were in the sixth group. I'm pretty sure you were in the sixth group. I'm not sure.
I don't know what our group number was.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just tell me about
what was it?
What you pulled from what you as a group or what you think you pulled from this exchange that we had among each other.
Well, for me, I really
about leadership.
About leadership.
Yes, ma'am.
That even though you're dealing with different issues, many of the skills that you need apply to the multiple issues We basically were around dealing with the same type of skills that were needed to deal with different issues. I had attendance. There was an issue with behavior, different concepts, different problems altogether. However, even though attendance is behavior, but not the same type of behavior problem. And we needed very similar skill sets to combat the problems that we were seeing within our districts.
You need a toolkit
Yes.
that's embedded in your soul. Okay, thank you, Michelle. Now, Natalie, were you in the same group?
No, I think I was in room 4.
Okay. Can you speak to your experiences in the group?
Sure. We really spent most of our time talking about data and the importance of having purposeful data. And the purposeful data can come in many forms. It can come from the lesson plans that we're writing. It can come from data that we're collecting about the students' grades, about demographics, all these different things. But data is useless if we are, in areas where we're stuck under we just have to move them through mindset, where the data just kind of spins in a circle and does nothing. So we really just kind of focused on the importance of having data and using that data purposefully, so that students are moving forward, but they're not moving forward simply because we're just moving them by.
I hear two things at least. Data as in purpose, and I hear data as in nurtured by leadership for the good of the vision.
Yep.
And that's something I think gets lost in the conversation sometimes. Nicely said. Thank you. I think Veronica was in the same group, right?
I was in group 6. We already spoke.
We already spoke. Lisa, I think your group already talked, I think. Yes, no?
I was group 6.
Gina, I think you were group 6 too. Let's go. Nicole. Go, Nicole.
So our group, we kind of we all had different problems. Like my problem was getting a group of teachers to roll out a quarterly assessment. Someone else's problem was having enough aides in their room. Someone else's problem was, making sure that there is common planning time. So I think, we kind of came to the conclusion, like as a leader, you have to find a way to support your staff to get the best results. Like for mine, at least, it was my screen is zooming in and out, so I don't know why. So sorry about that. But yeah, for mine, it was building trust in your department for them to feel comfortable to roll out an assessment and not have it reflect on them. For someone else with a common planning time, it's like being considerate of your teachers and making sure that happens in order to get the best results for their instructional practices.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what I haven't got a comment on that one right now. I'll come back to that one. Thanks, Nicole.
Okay.
Where am I? Carrie, were you in that group?
I was in group 2, I believe.
Right.
So what all of our things had in common was transformational leadership, basically, instead of transactional leadership. So not just doing things, just not being a leader just to get something else in exchange, but actually having a vision and a shared vision and kind of working towards that. So that's kind of what all of ours had in common.
Was that a plus issue or a minus issue on hold with a W?
Oh, can you say that again?
Was that a plus issue or a minus issue in terms of on whole?
I don't know actually.
Okay.
Sorry.
Put that under your pillow and figure that out.
Oh, all right, I will. I'll write it down.
Okay. Jen, how do you idea that Jen wanted to say something? Jen Wagner. No.
I was telling my teammate Nicole that she did a great job talking about what we discussed.
Okay. It actually made me cry. It actually made me cry. She gave me a tear. Go ahead. See, what did you say?
Um, you said, do transformational leadership and change theory go hand in hand? And I said, and I think in order to be a transformational leader, you need to be open to change. And that kind of stemmed off of our conversations because they were all kind of about trying to get people to agree to a change. And it kind of aligned with what Nicole and I think it was Natalie said with having data and like a reason behind a change too, to show the teachers or students, whoever you're trying to get to buy into the change, why you're proposing the change or why it would be beneficial to make the change.
That's another tier, Ashley. You had two tiers today.
It was my group. It wasn't just me.
Okay, thank you. Ryan, were you in that same group?
No, I was in a different one. We had a lot of similar things too, where our overarching theme was culture and just communication between administrators, teachers, and students, and just creating like a collaboration and relationships between everybody to get to a good outcome.
Okay, now collaboration and communication. We talked about this a couple of times, I think, already. Two of the C words, I think, and number one C word being culture. Collaboration and communication are not the same. We know that one leads to the other, and are not necessarily natural skills. So the leader has to, spend a lot of time helping people, and maybe helping herself to become very, very skilled at that, and not so much even the communication issue. Well, I'm not so sure I should say it that way. The communication feeds off the collaboration, or I might even know the answer to this. Does the collaboration feed off the communication, or does the communication feed off the collaboration? How would you, rhetorical question, how would you put that under your pillow tonight? How would you make that happen? Which chicken or the egg? Okay, I already did. I think I did every group, but did I leave a group out? Okay. I'm wrapping up by saying I enjoyed talking to you. An hour and a half a month is not enough for me to enjoy you, all right? And soak up your energy. And that's why the office hours are pretty important, and as well as the other assignments and things that go with it. I know I spent a lot of time working you through the two assignments because I also felt that you needed to be bolstered on that so that you know what's out in front of you. And we'll keep moving along. If anyone has a final comment or a question, I'll be happy to answer it, or just wait for anybody else who wants to talk to me afterwards. Somebody said something.
I have a question.
Yes.
So on the syllabus, the instructional leadership data project says partnership.
You know why it didn't work? Yeah, you're right. I was going to mention that. Thanks very much. I could have you, if you were in the same building with somebody, I could live with that. But how could you cooperate with, who's asking the question? I don't see who it is.
Kelly.
Oh, Kelly. So Kelly, we talked about this, didn't we? You and I?
We might have mentioned it, but then I wanted on the Brightspace assignments, it doesn't say partnership, but on the syllabus it does. So I wanted to just clarify before I found my partner.
If I had a magic wand, I would say or group, but I don't think it's workable in these online things because it's still difficult for you folks to find each other to cooperate. So I'm going to go single. Although I think I see the power of collaborating. Now, let me leave a little rabbit hole for those of you who think you may want to try that. If you want to collaborate with somebody else and you want me to help you find another person to collaborate with, we'll do that. Okay?
Okay.
But I think it's easier for everybody to do the single piece, given that you're 26 people and most of whom are in 26 different buildings. Some of you are in the same district, I know. And that might be a little bit more workable, but we'll leave it like that. And if you, Kelly, were to come back to me and say, I'd like to work with somebody else in Connecticut in another building with a music person or whomever, I can understand that. And then I'd be happy to help you flesh that out.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good question.
Yep.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody because you're all pretty good people. All right. And they actually got 2 tiers today. I'm going to go from there. All right, good night, everybody. I'll stay on in case somebody has a question.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank
Bye.
you.
I have a question actually about the email, the Stony Brook email.
Yeah.
I'm not able to get on it. I don't know why. Like I clicked on email and it says your network doesn't support this.
No, I have no idea what that means. Are you doing your network doesn't support it?
Yeah, so I'm doing it now. Hold on. So I go on students and then I says Google Mail, your Stony Brook email, right?
Yeah.
And then I signed on the net ID sign in. And then it says, can't sign you in. This account is not allowed to sign in within this network. Please talk to your administrator.
You're gonna have to call tech on that one, okay? Maybe there's
So,
some kind of
'cause
problem with
there's-
the registration or something like that.
There's emails on there that I need, right, from you?
No, good question. No, you know why? Almost everything I put up is in announcements.
Okay, fine. That's okay. And then I emailed you my assignment through my work email. So, like my leadership one. Oh, good.
I think I saw that because did you email me out of
Just
someplace
did it
else?
tonight. And then, yeah, the case study I did this morning as well from my school email,
Like,
not from the
I wondered why it wasn't coming from Stony Brook when I saw it.
Yeah.
All right. But if I were you, I'd talk to tech anyway. Give them a call.
Okay, just in case. All right, great.
All right. Take
Yes.
care. Bye now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. Kevin, you still there?